Reborn as my cheating husband's boss. Part 1. The Day I Died. Elena Zhao never imagined that betrayal could feel warm. Warm like the spreading heat of her own blood pooling beneath her cheek. Warm like the last touch she felt on her skin, the trembling fingers of the man she loved, the man she trusted, the man who was now staring at her as if she were an inconvenience he hadn't planned for. Daniel, why? Her voice cracked. Rain hammered the empty construction site, mixing with the metallic scent of blood. Daniel Reed stood above her, shirt plastered to his body, eyes wide with panic and guilt. Guilt she once would have forgiven, but now only burned. I didn't mean to, he stammered. Claire pushed you. I can fix this. Claire Lynn, her husband's cute, sugar-tongued secretary, crouched beside him. Instead of remorse, she smirked. Why bother lying, Daniel? She's already dying. Elena's vision blurred. She had discovered their affair only an hour earlier. Months of secret hotel bills, messages deleted faster than she could read them. She confronted them. Claire shoved her. Elena fell. A metal beam pierced her abdomen. Her life ended before either of them bothered to call an ambulance. So this is how a loyal wife dies, killed by the man she gave everything to? Elena's last thought was not sorrow, but rage. A blinding light tore through her, ripping the world apart. Part 1. The Day I Died. Elena Zhao never imagined that betrayal could feel warm. Warm like the spreading heat of her own blood pooling beneath her cheek. Warm like the last touch she felt on her skin, the trembling fingers of the man she loved, the man she trusted, the man who was now staring at her as if she were an inconvenience he hadn't planned for. Daniel, why? Her voice cracked. Rain hammered the empty construction site, mixing with the metallic scent of blood. Daniel Reed stood above her, shirt plastered to his body, eyes wide with panic and guilt. Guilt she once would have forgiven, but now only burned. I didn't mean to, he stammered. Claire pushed you. I can fix this. Claire Lynn, her husband's cute, sugar-tongued secretary, crouched beside him. Instead of remorse, she smirked. Why bother lying, Daniel? She's already dying. Elena's vision blurred. She had discovered their affair only an hour earlier. Months of secret hotel bills, messages deleted faster than she could read them. She confronted them. Claire shoved her. Elena fell. A metal beam pierced her abdomen. Her life ended before either of them bothered to call an ambulance. So this is how a loyal wife dies, killed by the man she gave everything to? Elena's last thought was not sorrow, but rage. A blinding light tore through her, ripping the world apart. Rebirth.
Elena Jerkedawake.
She wasn't dead. She was sitting at a massive glass desk, sunlight pouring through floor-to-ceiling windows that overlooked downtown Shanghai. Her hands, large, veined, masculine. Her voice, deeper. Her reflection in the glossy desk, sharp jawline, cold eyes, and the unmistakable face of Alexander King, the terrifying CEO of Titan Corp. Daniel's future boss. The man Daniel would meet in exactly 10 years. The man Daniel would cheat under, grovel under, fear under. Elena's heart slammed against her ribs. I reincarnated as him? A tablet buzzed with notifications. Meeting with Titan Corp Board, 9 a.m. Approve new division restructuring. Terminate underperforming manager. Daniel Reed, pending. Claire Lynn, application submitted. Secretary position, review needed.
Elena froze.
What kind of cosmic joke is this? She had returned a full decade earlier, reborn into the body of the ruthless future CEO destined to dominate her husband's career. She wasn't Elena Zhao anymore. She was Alexander King. And Daniel Reed, currently a small, average office worker, hadn't even cheated yet. Good. Let's see how you like being powerless. The new reality. Alexander's assistant, a timid young man named Kyle, knocked and poked his head in. Sir, are you all right? You look pale. Elena, Alexander, straightened, adopting the cold demeanor the real CEO was infamous for.
I've fine.
Prepare the files for personal review. Kyle blinked. You usually have me summarize them. I'll look at them myself. Kyle hurried away, clearly rattled. Elena let out a shaky exhale. She needed to understand everything: her new identity, the timeline, and the empire she now controlled. Alexander King, age 28. Founder of Titan Corp. Notorious for buying failing companies, restructuring them ruthlessly, and tripling profits. Mysterious personal life. No known relationships.
No scandals. No weaknesses. Perfect.
She had been reborn not as prey, but as the most powerful predator Daniel would ever meet. She logged into her internal system. A list of applicants appeared. Her eyes locked on Claire Lynn's resume. 21 years old. Major in business administration. Applying for personal secretary. So she was already eyeing powerful men this early? Elena's lip curled. She clicked reject without hesitation. Her finger hovered over Daniel's name next.
But no.
Not yet. Destroying him now would be too merciful. She needed him to fall slowly, piece by piece, just as she once did. This time, Daniel, I will be the one watching you kneel. A knock. Sir, Kyle said nervously. Your 9 a.m. board meeting is starting. Alexander King rose, a body built on power and intimidation, and Elena felt a new strength she had never known. She walked toward the meeting room like a storm. If fate had given her a second life, she would use it to rewrite everything. And she would start by crushing the two people who destroyed her. Part 2. The man I once called husband. Elena, now living inside the tall, imposing body of Alexander King, strode into the Titan Corp boardroom. The atmosphere shifted instantly. Executives straightened. Breaths hitched. Silence fell like a blade. Alexander King was feared for a reason. But today, Elena used that fear with exquisite precision. Let's begin, she said, voice smooth, sharp, and cold. Every decision she made was deliberate. Every word, every glance, every pause calculated. But beneath her controlled facade was a storm she kept carefully contained. Somewhere in this city, Daniel Reed is still my husband. Still innocent. Still smiling. Still promising me forever. He had not yet tasted power. Had not yet betrayed her. Had not yet lifted a hand while another woman shoved his wife to her death. She felt nothing but ice. A scheduled collision. After the meeting, Kyle hurried over, wringing his hands. Sir, you have a 2 p.m. inspection at the Midtown office branch. Midtown.
Elena froze internally.
Daniel Reed worked there. Her heart thudded once, hard, before settling into a cold rhythm.
Good, she said.
Prepare the car. Truthfully, she wasn't ready. To face the man who killed her? To see him alive, smiling, unaware that the woman he murdered was staring out at him through the eyes of his future boss.
But she went anyway.
Because power meant confronting ghosts, not fleeing them. The Midtown office. The elevator doors slid open. Employees scrambled to bow. Fear rippled like a wave. Alexander King didn't visit branches often. When he did, layoffs usually followed. Elena walked through the corridors, gaze calculating, expression unreadable. Then she saw him. Daniel Reed, 10 years earlier. Daniel Reed, age 26. Lean build, warm brown eyes, tie slightly crooked, one hand pushing his hair back nervously. He was helping a colleague carry a stack of documents, smiling politely. A smile she once adored. A smile she once woke up next to. A smile that had lied to her for years. Elena felt something twist inside her chest, not affection, but a phantom pain. A ghost of her past self. He doesn't recognize me.
Good.
Kyle leaned in quietly. That's Daniel Reed, sir. One of the junior analysts. Junior. Not yet ambitious. Not yet greedy. Not yet hers to destroy, but soon. Daniel turned and froze. He hadn't been warned of Alexander King's visit. His eyes widened as their gazes met. Elena watched him pale slightly. Even 10 years earlier, he could sense power. He bowed quickly. CCO King, he stammered. It's an honor.
Honor.
From a man who once held her dying body. Elena forced a slow nod. Reed, is it? Yes, sir. His voice trembled. She remembered it trembling against her neck when he kissed her. When he promised forever. When he lied. Walk with me, she ordered. Daniel swallowed. Yes, sir. A merciless evaluation. They walked together down the hallway, employees watching in silent panic. Daniel spoke carefully. Sir, if there's anything I can assist you with, tell me. Elena interrupted coldly. What is your purpose here? And my purpose? Yes. She turned her sharp gaze on him. Why should Titan Corp keep you? Daniel blinked rapidly, trying to gather courage he didn't have. I work hard. I'm willing to improve. I want to grow with the company.
Grow.
Yes, he would grow into a greedy opportunist who climbed higher by stepping on others, including the wife who loved him. Elena said nothing. Daniel fumbled, flustered. I mean, sir, I'm still learning, but I'm loyal. Loyal? The word made Elena's blood simmer cold. She stopped walking. Daniel nearly bumped into her. You, she said, voice a silky threat, have potential. But potential means nothing without discipline. Daniel nodded quickly, relieved the conversation wasn't going poorly. Elena's lips curved into the faintest, coldest smile. Work hard, Reed. I'll be watching. The irony was painful. He bowed. Yes, CEO King. I won't disappoint you. You already did, she thought. She turned away before her past memories bled through the mask she wore. Daniel exhaled shakily, unaware that the most powerful man in the building was the wife he would one day kill. Claire Lynn. Early shadows. As Elena headed toward the exit, Kyle spoke timidly. Sir, we received another email from Claire Lynn about her application. Elena didn't break stride. Delete it. Kyle blinked. All of it, sir? All of it. And blacklist her from all Titan Corp positions. Kyle nodded, intimidated. As you wish. Elena didn't look back. Returned to the penthouse. That night, she stood in front of Alexander's penthouse windows, Shanghai glittering beneath her feet. She touched the glass lightly. So this is my new life. My second chance. My turn to choose the ending. Her phone buzzed. Daniel Reed. Performance report requested by CEO King. He was already working overtime. Already desperate to impress her. Already stepping onto the path that would lead to his future sins.
Good. She thought coldly.
Let him try. Let him rise. Let him think the world favors him. Because when she decided to break him, he would have the farthest to fall. Part 3. When the past becomes a weapon. 3 months passed. 3 months of silent manipulation. 3 months of carefully laid traps. 3 months of watching Daniel Reed climb. The rise she allowed. Under Alexander King's personal attention, Daniel's career advanced unnaturally fast. Promotions. Critical projects. Direct reporting access. To outsiders, it looked like luck. To Elena, it was design. She sat in her office, reviewing Daniel's latest performance metrics. Numbers surged upward: efficiency, profit, leadership scores. He was improving faster than before. Better than before.
So this is who you could have been, she thought.
If you hadn't chosen betrayal. Kyle hesitated at the door. Sir, there's something else. Speak. There's a new intern assigned to Midtown Branch. Her name is Claire Lynn. Silence. The name echoed like a gunshot in Elena's mind. So fate still insists on bringing you together. Elena's fingers tightened around the tablet. Transfer her, she said. Kyle blinked. Transfer. To headquarters. Personal observation. Kyle stiffened. Why, yes, sir. Elena leaned back slowly. If the snake insists on entering the garden, then I'll be the one waiting. The first meeting, again. Claire Lynn stood in the executive lobby, clutching her folder. Bright eyes. Soft voice. Delicate smile. Everything about her screamed harmless. Everything about her was a lie. Elena watched from the upper floor before descending. Each step echoed with quiet authority. Claire looked up and froze. CEO Alexander King. Her eyes widened with a mixture of awe and calculation. Elena recognized it instantly. There it is. The hunger. Claire bowed quickly. Yes, sir. I didn't expect to meet you personally. You're Claire Lynn. Not a question. Claire blinked, then smiled sweetly. Yes, sir. Elena stepped closer, towering over her. For a brief second, just a flicker, she imagined pushing Claire the way Claire once pushed her. The same fall, the same helplessness, the same death. But she didn't move. Because revenge wasn't about repetition. It was about control. "You've been transferred under my direct supervision," Elena said calmly. Claire's heart skipped. This was beyond opportunity. This was elevation. "Thank you, sir. I'll work very hard." "I don't reward effort," Elena cut in. "Only results." Claire nodded quickly. "I understand." "Of course you do," Elena thought coldly.
You always did know how to perform.
Threads of fate tighten. It didn't take long. Despite Elena's interference, Claire and Daniel crossed paths again, this time at headquarters. A meeting. A shared project. A conversation that lasted just a little too long. Elena watched it all through glass walls and security reports. Claire laughing softly. Daniel smiling back. The beginning. The same beginning. But this time, Elena was watching.
The test.
One evening, Elena summoned Daniel to her office. He arrived quickly, nervous but eager. "You wanted to see me, sir?" Elena didn't look up immediately. Silence stretched. Pressure built.
Then,
"I'm assigning you to a confidential project," she said. Daniel straightened. "Yes, sir. It involves sensitive financial restructuring. Only a handful of people have access." He nodded, serious now. "I understand." Elena finally met his eyes. "Claire Lynn will assist you." A pause. Just long enough. Daniel blinked, surprised. "Oh, yes, sir." There it was.
Curiosity.
Interest. The first thread tightening. Elena leaned forward slightly. "Tell me, Reed," she said, voice low, deliberate. "Can you separate work from personal distraction?" Daniel didn't hesitate. "Yes, sir. Absolutely." Liar, Elena thought. The slow collapse. Weeks passed. The project intensified. Late nights. Shared deadlines. Close proximity. Exactly as before. Elena didn't interfere. She simply watched. Claire grew closer to Daniel. Subtle touches. Lingering smiles. Convenient vulnerability. Daniel resisted, at first. Elena saw it clearly. He went home on time. Avoided unnecessary conversations. Kept boundaries. So you can resist, she thought. But pressure changes people. Fatigue weakens resolve. Ambition clouds judgment. One night, Elena checked the security logs. Daniel and Claire were still in the office. Past midnight. Alone.
Elena stood slowly.
This is it. The moment that defines everything. She walked to the surveillance room. Monitors flickered. There they were. Claire leaned against the desk, voice soft, vulnerable. "I don't think I can finish this alone." Daniel hesitated, then stepped closer. "I'll help you." Too close. Too familiar. Claire smiled. "You're always so reliable." A hand brushed his arm. Daniel didn't pull away. Elena's chest tightened, not with heartbreak but with cold, clinical confirmation. So this is who you are. Not forced. Not manipulated beyond control. Given a choice. And choosing wrong. Again. The revelation. The next morning, Elena called Daniel in. He looked tired. Slightly distracted.
Guilty. Perfect. Seat.
Daniel obeyed. Elena slid a tablet across the desk. "Explain this." Daniel looked down. His face drained of color. Security footage.
Clear.
Undeniable. Claire touching him not stopping her. Silence crushed the room. Sir, it's not what it looks like." "Then what does it look like?" Elena asked calmly. Daniel's voice cracked. "I made a mistake."
Elena stood slowly.
"Yes," she said. "You did." She walked around the desk, stopping directly in front of him. Close enough to feel his tension. "To betray trust," she continued softly, "is not an accident. It is a decision." Daniel lowered his head. "I'm sorry, sir."
Sorry.
The same word he said while she was dying. Elena's gaze turned glacial. Apologies are meaningless, without consequence. Daniel's heart pounded. "Sir, please."
"You're suspended," she said.
Effective immediately. Relief flickered, he wasn't fired. Not yet. Elena saw it and smiled faintly. Hope is the cruelest thing to give. The final move. Claire was dismissed quietly. No drama. No scene. Just erased. But Daniel was left hanging. Career stalled. Reputation damaged. Future uncertain. Elena made sure of it. Every promotion withdrawn. Every opportunity just out of reach. Not destroyed. Not yet. Because true revenge wasn't quick. It was slow. The truth he never knows. One evening, months later, Daniel stood outside Titan Corp. Alone, looking up at the towering building. At the empire he almost touched. At the man who decided his fate. Inside, Elena watched from above. Invisible. Untouchable. Unrecognizable. You'll never know, she whispered to the glass, that the person who judged you was the one you killed. Her reflection stared back at her. Alexander King. Powerful. Cold. Untouchable. But inside, she was finally free. Epilogue. The justice only a reborn heart can deliver. 10 years later. Shanghai glittered outside the penthouse windows. Older, brighter, sharper. Titan Corp had grown into a global empire, feared and respected in equal measure. And Alexander King, the man Elena had become, was now a legend. But Elena herself? She was quiet inside him, no longer fueled by rage, no longer haunted by betrayal. Just watching, just existing, just finally at peace. The fall of Daniel Reed. Daniel Reed stood in the lobby of Titan Corp headquarters, holding a worn resume, wearing a suit that had lost its shine. He was 36 now, lines around the eyes, a heaviness in his shoulders, a past he couldn't escape, career stagnated, marriage non-existent, reputation permanently damaged. He never understood what went wrong, why every promotion slipped away, why every company he joined eventually downsized him, why nothing he touched ever bloomed again. He blamed politics. He blamed luck. He blamed the world. He never once blamed himself. And he never once guessed that the beginning of his downfall was the day he caught the eye of the CEO. He approached the front desk nervously.
Ashil?
I have an appointment. Daniel Reed. The receptionist checked her tablet. Her eyes softened with pity. I'm sorry, sir. CEO King canceled your interview. Daniel froze.
What?
But I traveled across the country. I understand, she said gently. But there's nothing I can do. Daniel Reed stepped back, breath shaking. 10 years. 10 years of trying. And, once again, rejected. By the same man. From above. Elena watched from the top floor, unseen. Daniel exited the building slowly, almost limping, like each step was a reminder of every lost chance. He reached the plaza outside and stopped, staring up at the skyscraper that had haunted his entire adult life. He whispered something Elena couldn't hear, but she knew what it was. Why? Why him? Why this? Why fate had singled him out? He would never know. And that truth, that invisibility, that incomplete understanding, that was the real revenge. Not cruelty, not pain, not violence, but silence. And the knowledge that the person who ended his future was someone he would never see, never suspect, never understand. A different ending. Elena turned away from the window. Kyle, older, more confident now, entered with a stack of reports. Sir, the global expansion meeting is ready.
Elena nodded.
I'm coming. She walked through the penthouse, gaze sweeping across a life she had built from ashes. Strength instead of meekness. Power instead of pleading. Purpose instead of heartbreak. She paused at the door. Karma didn't punish Daniel.
I did.
But now she no longer felt satisfaction or bitterness. Just completion. A circle closed. A story finished. A ghost finally laid to rest. The woman she used to be. She went to the mirror. Alexander's reflection staring back.
Sharp jaw.
Cold eyes. A man feared by nations. But inside that body lived the memory of a woman who once died in the rain, betrayed by the man she loved. Elena touched the mirror lightly. Thank you, she whispered. Not to Alexander, not to fate, but to herself. Thank you for surviving. She smiled softly. For the first time in a long time, it was genuine. Then she turned off the lights, stepped out of the penthouse, and left the past behind her. For good. Bonus Scene 1. The day Alexander King died. Most people only knew the public story. Alexander King vanished for 48 hours, then returned, colder and more brilliant than ever. Nobody ever discovered why. But the truth was this. Alexander King died. It happened the night before Elena woke in his body. A car crash. Steel twisted. Gasoline dripping.
No witnesses.
A silence, so consuming even fate paused. Alexander climbed from the wreck, blood streaming down his forehead. He looked at his trembling hands, at the fire swallowing the vehicle, and let out a shaky laugh. So this is it, he whispered. No fear.
No desperation.
Just acceptance. Because Alexander had no family.
No lovers. No attachments.
Only an empire he built out of spite against a world that tried to crush him. He closed his eyes. If I get another life, he murmured to the flames, let it be in the body of someone who needs the strength I never used. And fate answered, not by giving him a new life, but by giving his body to someone who needed it more. Bonus Scene 2. Daniel's dream. Years after his downfall, Daniel sometimes woke in the middle of the night gasping, heart pounding. Always the same nightmare. He stood in a construction site, rain falling like knives. A woman lay on the ground, blood spreading beneath her. Her face blurred. His memory had buried it under guilt. But her last words always echoed clearly. Why? Daniel always woke crying, never knowing why that dream felt so familiar, never knowing why it cut so deep, never knowing it was memory trying to claw its way out. He told himself it was stress. But sometimes, in the mirror, he saw a reflection he couldn't place. A woman with tired eyes and a broken heart. He blinked, and she was gone. Bonus Scene 3. Claire's confession. Claire Lynn never understood why her career suddenly died. Jobs rejected. Applications ignored. Opportunities vanishing. One night, sitting alone in her cramped apartment, she whispered into her hands. He was supposed to fall in love with me. She remembered Daniel. How easy he had been to manipulate. How predictable.
How weak.
She remembered the day she met CEO Alexander King, the man whose eyes felt like blades.
Cold.
Knowing. Terrifying. She shivered. What did he see in me? She murmured. A threat? A problem? A toy. Claire didn't know that Alexander King wasn't Alexander that day, or that he had recognized her soul in an instant, or that he had already lived through the ending she had not yet reached. All she knew was that some invisible force had marked her, and no matter where she went, it followed. Bonus Scene 4. Elena visits her own grave. 10 years after her rebirth, Elena, still in Alexander's body, walked through a quiet cemetery under a gray Shanghai sky. She reached a small, modest gravestone.
Elena Zhao.
1990 to 2019. Beloved wife. Gentle soul. She stood silently. Nobody else visited this tomb. Daniel certainly never did. Elena crouched and brushed leaves from the marble. Gentle soul, she whispered with a tired smile. They never knew you. Rain began to fall, soft at first, then heavy. She looked down at her old name. I'm not you anymore, she said quietly. But I carry you with me. She placed a single white lily on the grave, then straightened. You are free, she whispered. And so am I. She turned away, leaving her old life behind forever. Romantic subplot. The man who saw through the ice. When a new person enters her world. His name was Ethan Cole, 32. Newly hired head of Titan Corp Global Strategy. Brilliant. Blunt. Unintimidated by power. Most people trembled in front of Alexander King. Ethan didn't. Their first meeting ended with Ethan saying, You're impressive, CEO King, but you're also hiding something.
Elena froze.
Nobody had ever said that to her. Her mask cracked for the first time. 2. Ethan's quiet perception. Over the following weeks, Ethan became a constant, unavoidable presence. He challenged her in meetings, debated with her, pointed out flaws in her strategies, stared at her as if trying to peel back layers she didn't want touched. And he noticed everything. You look tired today. You're holding your coffee differently. You avoided answering that question, why? Elena didn't know whether to fire him or run from him, because his gaze felt too close to something forbidden, the woman she used to be. 3. The night Ethan saved her. The turning point came during a late-night emergency meeting. A power outage struck the building. The sweeping office floors went dark. Emergency lights flickered.
Elena stiffened.
Rain outside. Darkness inside. It reminded her too much of her death. Her breath started to shake. Ethan noticed instantly. He approached, voice gentle. Alexander, you're trembling. Nobody had ever used her first name like that.
Soft.
Worried. I'm fine, she said, lying. Ethan didn't step away. He placed a warm hand on her wrist. You're not. That simple touch, warm, grounding, real, cut through 10 years of ice. And for the first time since her reincarnation, Elena felt
safe.
Not in control. Not powerful. Not vengeful. Just safe. 4. Ethan's suspicion. Over the next month, Ethan became even more attentive. He watched her carefully, listened when she spoke, stood closer than necessary. But there was something else too. Something dangerous. Alexander, he said one night after a long meeting, I've always felt like you're two different people. Elena's heart hammered. What makes you say that? Ethan tilted his head slightly. Your eyes don't match your voice. Your kindness doesn't match your reputation. And sometimes, when you think nobody's looking, you smile like someone who's lived twice. Elena almost dropped her glass. Ethan stepped closer. You're hiding a heart that doesn't belong to the world you show. Her breath caught. He sees me, not Alexander King.
Elena.
The woman she once was. The woman she thought she buried forever. 5. The confession that wasn't. One night, after reviewing plans on the rooftop, Ethan finally spoke the words she feared. Alexander, I think I'm falling for you.
Elena froze.
Ethan continued, voice soft, trembling with sincerity. I don't know why. I don't know who you truly are. But every time you look at the city, or touch your pen, or pause before answering, I see someone heartbreakingly gentle beneath the armor. Elena looked away. You shouldn't, she whispered. Why not? Because I'm not the person you think I am. Ethan's voice dropped. Then tell me who you are. Her throat closed. How could she explain reincarnation? Betrayal?
Death.
A husband who murdered her? A life she lost? She turned from him. I can't. Ethan didn't push, but he said quietly, when you're ready, I'll be here, for whoever you truly are. Her heart ached in a way she hadn't felt since her first life. 6. The first crack in her armor. Later that night, alone in her penthouse, Elena touched the glass window. For years she had lived for revenge, for justice, for survival. She had forgotten what it felt like to be seen, to be cared for, to be loved. And Ethan didn't love Alexander King. He loved the soul behind those eyes.
Me.
Elena closed her eyes. For the first time since her rebirth, she whispered something she never allowed herself to say. I want to be loved again. A single tear fell, not of sadness, but of release.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share for more manhwa style stories. Comment your favorite moment.